Hello, my name is Joshua Hood. I am the Director of Advance for the Hattiesburg City School District. And today we're going to be talking about the habits of a successful band director. Specifically, this book of chapters 7 and 9. Chapter 7 focuses on assessing for success, and chapter 9 is entitled Beg, Borrow, Steal, and Hone Your Skills. So we're going to highlight a couple thoughts, key takeaways from the reading from this week. First thing we want to do is get a little introduction into student assessment. First question, why do we assess? And why is assessment important? Why does it matter? To begin, an assessment is simply just a measurement tool. It's how we measure student progress. Okay? So measuring that allows us to develop a system where we can help our students continuously improve. All right? When we intentionally evaluate, so evaluate with the purpose, with the reason, right? We can understand what our kids don't know, and we can develop a plan to help them get there, all right? Which takes me to my next point. Once we assess, we can align our teaching with the student needs and the ensemble goals. So if our goal by Friday is to be able to play measure 30 to 52, we can develop a system, we can develop a lesson plan to help us get there along the way while we're also hitting these checkpoints and meeting the needs of our students, all right? Next, for assess for success, this is my first key takeaway, was the big four, and that's timing, tuning, tone, and technique. So when I read through timing, it was very important to understand the relation of pulse and rhythm, right? Pulse is the steady beat, and the rhythm is that what flows through the beat. So it's very important to understand the subdivisions of a beat. We actually spent a lot of time this 9 weeks specifically working on subdividing one beat, the 8th note and the 16th note relationship. You can't see it, but it's on the wall back there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of 8th note, 16th note combinations. That's 8, 8, 16, 16, 8, 16, 8, 16, dotted 8, 16th, and 16 dotted 8. So 5 different variations, and we work on them every day. Pick a different variation, and we play this scale on that variation of the note. So pulse and rhythm is very important, understanding the subdivision of the beat. And this is a phrase that I learned today during the reading, is prioritize the stem. And when you do that, I've always known this, but it didn't really click until today, that the stem of the note is what gives us our rhythm. The head gives us our melody, or that would be our longitude, and the stem gives us our latitude, right? So it gives us this way, and our note head gives us this way, but it didn't really click until today. So prioritize the stem, learning the difference between one flag and 2 flags, right? Okay, and the relationship between the two. So the next one is tuning. Tuning talks about bad notes and pitch tendencies of your instrument. Of course, as a professional musician and as somebody who's been through high school band, college band, and understand the inner workings of tuning, of course, I knew for myself, and I knew that other instruments have specific notes that are inherently out of tune, or you have to play them a certain way. But it's kind of like a revelation to me to kind of understand that these students, they need to know these notes too. They need to know which notes are inherently bad on their instrument. So teaching them what the bad notes and pitch tendencies of their instruments, and teaching them how to make the adjustments. Maybe that's rolling in on flute, things like that, to get that good intonation. So making that adjustment to be able to achieve that intonation despite of the bad notes or the pitch tendencies of certain notes. All right, moving on to tone. Tone is understanding the characteristic sound. So it's very important to understand that every instrument should sound a certain way, right? And a lot of the times our students aren't exposed to what the instrument should actually sound like. They just hear what it sounds like when they play it, or when their friend plays it, or when they hear a fanfare or something online. But I think it's very important for us as educators to not only demonstrate proper tone on the instruments that we have mastered, but show them other instrumentalists, other professionals who play that instrument, and this is what a characteristic sound should sound like. If you're playing flute, this is what a flute player should sound like. If you're playing saxophone, this is what it should sound like. I know what you sound like when you play it, but this is what it should sound like. Things like that. And then it's also another key point of this, of characteristic sound, is understanding the sound, the tone that goes, the characteristic tone that goes with the ensemble that you're in. So, a marching band trombone sound is different from a concert band trombone sound versus a jazz band trombone sound. For a prime example, I am a member of the Epic Funk Brass Band. That's a New Orleans style second line band. We're based out of Jackson. But the tone that I play when I play with them is completely different than what I would play in a concert band setting. So understanding the characteristic tone and make sure that the tone that you're playing at the time matches the needs of the ensemble. And the last one up here for the 4 T's is technique. And what stood out to me about this was making the connection between music theory, scales, exercises, and the music that we play. So a lot of the times our students don't really understand the purpose of why we do this. Mr. Hood, why do we have to do this warm-up like this every day? It's the same thing every day. There's a reason that we do it. So, and it's very important to make that connection between what we're doing as a warm-up, what we're doing in these exercises every day, to the music that we play. When you see that 16-note run in your music, right, that's simply just the B-flat scale sped up. So it's important to make sure that we're teaching the connection that these scales, yeah, it's a boring fundamental, but if you master it, it'll translate into other things that you enjoy. You know, that concept right there. Same thing with music theory. Same thing with understanding, you know, how to, we just talked about 8-note, 16-note conjugations, how to dissect that when you see that 8-note, 16-note combination in your music. Because you understand music theory, now I can make the connection to my pop tune, to my stand tune, to my concert band music, to my field show music. When I see that dotted 8/16, I know that rhythm, right? So these types of things are important when you're talking about technique. Moving on to the next key takeaway for Assess for Success would be our tools and methods of assessment. So the first one, of course, is the regular playing test. This could be live or recorded and uploaded to a LMS. We have written tests as well. So a lot of times I give tests on music theory for sure. We've done some music history. We've done musical forms. We have we have tests on musical instruments as well. So these things can be tested. Their knowledge can be tested written on a written test. And then we have peer or self-evaluations. So frequently in my band class, I will have all the students play for one another. If we're just, you know, learning a new song, you play this measure where, you know, something that we should have known for a long time, you play this scale. We have an audition coming up, for example. I have them play the required scales every day in class for one another. And then what I'll do is I'll have everybody in the room, after they finish playing, everybody close your eyes, on a scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rate their performance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody has their eyes closed, including the student who just played, and they all rate, right? And then I tell the student who just played the correlation between what they rated. They're going to rate themselves as well. And I give them the correlation between what they rated themselves and what the rest of the group rated themselves. I'll say high, low, or right on, right? So it kind of gives them, and it doesn't tell them who said what or who thinks what of me. It kind of reduces that pressure, but it allows them to kind of get an understanding of where they are in relation to the rest of the group. And then self-evaluation. So sometimes I'll have them play and upload a video or send a video in, and part of their grade will be to evaluate their own performance. You know, I would say, give me one paragraph on what on your performance. Tell me 3 things that you did good, right? Point out 3 positives, and then tell me 3 areas where you can improve. Whether that be rhythmically, that be tone quality, that would be intonation. All of these different things. You can tell me any 3 things good and any 3 things bad. So that's your self-evaluation. The last point up here is rubrics and performance assessment. So this point right here is more so for the educators. It's very important for us to have a system of measuring our students that is objective, that is not subjective, okay? It has to be objective. It has to be you met this goal or you did not meet this goal. You played this rhythm correct or you did not play this rhythm correct. You stayed in the key signature or you did not stay in the key signature. And when you create a rubric for that, it aligns it across the board for everyone to have a fair shot and to get a fair grade. It's sometimes as directors, and especially working with these students on a daily basis, we pretty much already know what they're capable of. So, you know, grading them without a rubric is slick unfair because you already know the student is a 75 and he's going to get a 75 in your head regardless of whether he plays at an 80 today or a 75 or a 65. You're pretty much going to give him the grade that you want. I've done that before in my younger career. So, and then I kind of learned the importance of having a rubric so everybody can be judged fairly and on the same basis, right? All right, moving along. My last key takeaway, no, excuse me, not my last key takeaway. My next key takeaway for Assess for Success is grade level appropriateness, and I'll just touch on this very quick. It's paramount for you to choose music repertoire exercises that are on level for your students. And then you can scaffold it too as well. So one thing that I did at my previous school that I'm going to bring to this school next year is the pass-off system with classes. So I would do, the classes I had were featherweight, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And within each of these classes, there were different scales, arpeggios, thirds, fifths, etudes, lines up the books, different things of that nature. And as you progress through the weight classes, of course, it becomes increasingly more difficult, more challenging, right? So I wouldn't give a seventh grader heavyweight. They would start, of course, in the lightweight or the featherweight category, and they would work themselves up. It usually would take a full school year to complete the class, but if you complete it prior to the end of the year, you can start on the next class, whatever the case may be. But it kind of gives them an opportunity to grow and develop at their own pace, and allows them to challenge themselves. You know, if I want to challenge myself, I'm gonna go ahead and get through this class so I can move up to the next one. And then too, it also kind of provides like a bit of competition within the band, which I think is always a good thing. And you know, the students can kind of see where they are compared to another one. And one thing we would always say is get your weight up. Get your weight up, because I'm heavyweight. Where are you? You lightweight. You still a featherweight. And it, you know, it was all in good fun, but it would kind of bring out that competitive edge amongst the band students. So just making sure that you have grade level appropriate music. One thing I would say, one last thing I would say is choosing repertoire that's appropriate for your ensemble's development stage. So specifically in the realm of concert band, one thought that I was always trained up on is that you always pick, when you're picking your 3 selections for a concert band performance, you pick one that is slightly below your ensemble's ability, one that is right on par, and one that is slightly more challenging than what you believe that they are capable of doing, okay? If you never challenge our students, how can they grow? All right, if we always meet them where they are, we can never push them forward. So you have to choose one song, in my opinion. You can think differently, but I would say you always have to choose at least one song that will push them to where they need to be. They can do it. They just need to be molded and coached and, you know, propped up to be able to do it. They have the ability to do it. If you push them and you believe in them and you encourage them, I promise you they will surprise you, and they will be able to do anything that you put in front of them, as long as it is reasonable, right? There's no need to pick a grade 5 for a 2A concert band, in my opinion, right? This year we played a grade 1, a grade 1.5, and a grade 1.5, right? So the 1, of course, was below, and I think one of those 2 1.5s is right on, but the second one was a little bit more challenging in my opinion. So that was kind of where we were at. So for next year, I'm going to shoot for a 1.5, a 1.5, and a 2, right? And then every year we're just going to keep on increasing and increasing and increasing until we can get to the same level across the board. All right, so that's what I would say about grade level appropriateness. Moving right along, my last key takeaway for standards for Assess is including the national standards in what we do. So the first point I said is determining which standard that you already use. I know for a fact that I already use standard 5, 6, and 7. Standard 5 is reading and notating music. Standard 6 is listening to, analyzing, and describing music. And standard 7 is evaluating musical performances. So, of course, we read and notate music every day. We listen to music, we analyze, and we describe it. How does that sound? Give me 3 sentences on what this makes you think about when you hear it. Okay, analyze it, listen very closely. So we do a unit on musical forms. We talk about rondo forms, sonata form, theme and variation. We talk about binary and ternary form. We talk about through, compose, all these different types of forms, and they have to listen to the music and analyze it and determine what style of form it is. So these are things we already do. And evaluate ourselves. That's evaluate music performances. That's standard 7, and we do that frequently, especially throughout the marching band season. We do that every Monday. We evaluate the performance from the previous Friday night, look at the field show, look at a couple tunes from the stands, and evaluate ourselves. I have a rubric. I give it out, just kind of like an informal daily grade, get the week started type of thing. And it's very good to always have our students listen to what they sound like. A lot of the times they think they sound way better than what they do until they go back and listen to the recording, and they're like, oh yeah. So it's very important, in my opinion, my professional opinion, to have our students to listen to themselves and evaluate themselves. So that's determining which ones you use already. And then the next one says figure out how to incorporate more of the standards. So standard 1 is singing music. So I would strive to sing music a little bit more inside of the band setting. I kind of grew up on the thought of play a chorale, sing your notes, sing through the chorale, and singing will help you align those pitches. You have to hear it before you can play it type of mentality. So I kind of grew up on that train of thought. When we sing in our band, it's more so like a silly thing we do when we're not sight reading, when we're air studying through a song, or we're doing it for repetition's sake, for memorization. So we're air studying along, we're singing our parts to the music while other people play. Tubas playing, trombones are playing, everybody else sing your part. Vice versa, trumpets are playing, trombones you're singing, low brass, all the low brass, whatever the case may be, you sing your part. And it's kind of like a silly thing that the kids like to get into, so I enjoy that. But we can incorporate a little bit more singing into it. Standard 2, I believe, is playing music. So of course this is a band, so this is an ensemble-based group. So we play musical instruments every day. And I think standard 4 is improvising melodies. This is something that I do want to try to incorporate more. And I feel like using this, and when I say improvise, I don't necessarily mean like we're improvising like over jazz or anything like that. I'm thinking more so of let's use our ears. And I know we don't like to teach by rote, but let's use our ears to help us figure out, this song. I might say, all right, your first note is E flat, all right? Figure out how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star based upon that note. That's your first note. You have 30 seconds. Go. And have them doodle around on their instrument until they can figure out the temporal relationships between the notes. I feel like this is evident for ear training. And this is something that we would do at Alcorn in the class. Well, when I studied at Alcorn, I had a class called Backgammon. It was all on the computer. A lot of people hated it. Basically oral skills. And you would have to go in there and listen to a melody and replicate it back. So, these things helped me form temporal relationships, help me understand the relationships between pitches. And it just trained my ear to be able to hear things rhythmically and melodically and be able to kind of, hammer them down. All right, so that's standard 3. I would say I do definitely want to try to incorporate that more in our band program. And then the last point is using standards provides our student with a holistic music education. It's very important to me specifically. I'm an arts educator. I love all the arts, specifically band, theater, and choir. Those are the 3 things that I strive to cultivate within my work environment. I believe it's very important to have a holistic education. You have to give the students the whole picture of it. And when you incorporate as many of these standards you can, you expose them to more things. So I would say for sure, a holistic education. A lot of us as educators, we kind of just give our students the same thing that was given to us. So, I'm not talking down on anybody, but there are specific groups of my peers, my colleagues, people that I work closely with who do not believe in concert band at all. And to me, that is like a shame because you're doing a extreme disservice to your student body. You're not doing what you need to do, in my opinion. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that. Provide your students with a holistic education. All right, let's move on to our chapter 9. Chapter 9 is beg, borrow, steal, and hone your skills. So for me, this chapter kind of encompasses all of the thoughts of being a lifelong learner and having the lifelong learner mindset. All right, so great teachers are always growing. We embrace humility and curiosity, and we commit to personal musicianship and pedagogical improvement. It's a whole bunch of words to say, get better, learn more. All right, let's keep moving. So effectiveness checklist, this is my first key takeaway from chapter 9. This is something I had never really seen before, and definitely something that I'm going to incorporate in my evaluation process moving forward. So I'm going to do one this year to kind of provide me with a baseline and a baseline assessment, and then every year moving forward in the springtime, I'll kind of revisit this list and do a fresh one, put the year at the top, and keep moving and see what areas did I show improvement in and what areas did I regress in at all, and figure out how to get development in those areas. All right, so the effectiveness checklist. Next key takeaway, of course, is collaboration is key. So you want to build a network of trusted colleagues for honest feedback. Honest feedback. Honest feedback. Not your buddy who gonna tell you, hey man, y'all sound good. Yeah, I want to hear what we didn't do wrong, what we didn't do right. You know what I'm saying? I want you to keep it real with me. And a lot of people that, in my experience, that I went to school with, they'll just tell you, bro, hey, look, hey, bro, it was good, And as a director, it wasn't really that good. So I make sure that you build a team of people who will keep it straight with you. But the more directors that you can talk to, I feel like that would be for the better. Borrow ideas from other directors and mentors. So, like I said, build you a network and then share ideas. Talk about what works and what doesn't work. Something that might not work for you might work for somebody else. But just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean that you shouldn't share your ideas with other people. Okay. For example, of course, we have the state, we have Mississippi Bandmasters Association. Within that, we have the Magnolia Band Directors Association. And even for me, within that, there is a group, we call ourselves the Brave Band Directors. These are all the people who graduated from Alcorn State University with a music education degree who are now teaching band somewhere, whether that be in Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, Atlanta, wherever the case may be. We all graduated from Alcorn. We have a group, and we shoot texts in there, shoot messages in there, and just ask each other, how's it going? What are you doing right now? How's concert band going? What are your takeaways from this year? What helped? What didn't help? And we kind of just share ideas and piggyback off of one another. We're all in there to help each other improve. So that's a great example of a network and borrowing and sharing ideas. Of course, you want to attend national and state band conferences. So I attend Mississippi Bandmasters Association State Band Clinic every year. I do want to make it to Chicago for a Midwest. That is a goal of mine, and hopefully we'll get there. But when you go to these workshops, there's just so many different people, so many educators who are disseminating knowledge. So it's very important that you go and you experience and you take part and you take notes and you bring something back that can help your band program become better. And the last one is invite guest directors or clinicians to work with your band. So I do this frequently throughout the year, specifically in the concert band season in the springtime. I'll have former directors of mine, former colleagues of mine, people I went to school with, people just who are knowledgeable in the area of band to come and listen to my group, give pointers to them, give pointers to me. After the students leave, we'll sit down and talk about, hey, what can I do to help facilitate this? What do I need to be doing on a daily basis to help us reach this goal 3 weeks from now, right? And then a lot of the times, they'll come in and say the exact same things that you've been saying to your group. They'll say the same things, but for some reason, it hits different when the students hear it from somebody else, right? So that's one thing for that. All right. Moving right along, and we're almost done. Our master classes and symphonic camps is the next thing that I did want to hit on. So master classes are when you have a professional musician come in, a professional educator come in, someone who specializes in something that you do not. You have them come in and you have them speak with your students, and disseminate knowledge that you yourself do not have. So this is a concept that I did want to bring to Hazelhurst. I haven't got it off the ground yet, but I will within this summer or the next school year. Is just having simply just 3 master classes, maybe doing 3 per semester or something like that, and bring in a woodwind, a brass, and a percussion. And we won't do it on the same day, and we don't have to do a whole day. We can do a half a day. Just have the students come in and have the professional come down and disseminate all the knowledge that they have gathered over the years on that specific instrument group. What can you teach them that I can't teach them? Bring them something fresh, bring them something new, bring them something original to you, whatever the case may be. But just come and work with our students, and that's very important for them to get that instruction from somebody who specializes on that instrument. I'm a band director, but I am not a clarinet player. So having a clarinet player come down is like major key. All right, so Winter Symphonic Camp is an idea that I've done in the past, and I will be doing again. To put it shortly, when you have a winter symphonic camp, it's the idea of basically summer band camp, how strenuous it is, but do that for a symphonic camp, how rigorous it is. Do that for the concert band setting. So what we did was we did a weekend. We did a Friday afternoon, evening, and then a Saturday day. And we picked 5 concert band songs in advance. And then we played through as much of each of those songs that we could over the 2 days. We rehearsed them. You get 45 minutes on this song, 45, so whatever the case may be, we rehearse this music. And then at the end of the second day, we make a determination. All right, these are the 3 songs that we're going to go with for our concert band evaluation. So master classes and symphonic band camp. These are 2 ideas that I came up with that were just kind of reiterated in this week's reading. And then, of course, this last point right here is a great point. It kind of points to the whole concept of doing this, is that it creates momentum and excitement in the middle of the year. So a lot of the times when we get to that mid-year push around wintertime, around coming back after Christmas, the kids are not motivated. So you might want to do something, give them something to kind of help them make it to the end of the year. All right. And in closing, here are my key takeaways from both chapters. Consistent and purposeful assessment improves musical outcomes. Okay, so you want to consistently, on a regular basis, and with a purpose, evaluate our students. Evaluate our student performance, and that will allow us to create the plans, create what we need to be able to develop them on a daily basis and meet our ensemble and program goals. All right. Use a variety of tools and benchmarks to monitor our students' progress. So making sure that we're not just doing playing tests every time. It's not just a written test every time. Use a variety, do different things, assess them in different ways. All right. But it's major key. The only reason that we assess is to monitor our students' progress towards a goal and develop a new way of instructing them, develop a plan of instruction to help them reach the goal. That's the only reason why we do assessments. All right. The next one says, stay inspired by sharing, reflecting, and collaborating. So work with one another. Work with your team. Work with previous colleagues. Work with mentors, whoever you can, to share knowledge with. Share knowledge. Give some of your knowledge and receive some. Take what they did. Borrow it. Steal it. It's okay. We all educators. We all doing the same types of things. All right. And the last one is structure opportunities for both student and teacher growth throughout the year. So provide opportunities to get better. This is for your students through master classes or boot camps or band camps, or for yourself through workshops or developments, or it's just seeking out that mentor, just seeking out that conversation that might help you better. All right, help you become better. All right, being a lifelong learner is something that's very important to me and something that I strive to do on a daily basis. That's why I'm back in school right now, and that's why once I finish this degree, I'm going to keep on going to the next level. So, just lifelong learner, you can never know too much. All right, this has been my review on the habits of becoming a successful band director.